Welcome, this is Joshua Benoist in Autodesk Product Support. We're going to talk about how to make a style drawing that you can reuse over and over again. So here is the problem statement from the customer. Customer created some styles in a project drawing, and they'd like those styles to be available in future projects. So what can we do about that? Well, let's go look at it. Here's Style Manager. It's on the Manage tab, and I'm going to use the schematic workspace for the moment. It doesn't matter. Style Manager is available through any of the workspaces. I'm going to launch Style Manager, and everything that's in here are styles. And the out-of-the-box template comes with certain styles already built into it. They're more or less samples, and they allow objects like systems to draw. So, for instance, if I go to draw a schematic line, or a pipe, or a duct, I want to have at least a few systems here that I can choose from, and then draw my objects. It's nice to have some choices in those drop downs. Well, those systems are styles, and there's a bunch of other different things that are styles. So let's go back to the Manage tab and look at Style Manager. So what we were looking at in that drop down menu was the system definitions that were for schematic lines. But we also have, if we were to draw ductwork, we've got system definitions for ductwork and piping and other things. And these duct systems, they use rise drop styles, which the rise drop symbol for exhaust and return and supply. Those rise drop styles are used by these systems, so I want to introduce the concept that some of these styles are dependent upon other styles. So if we look at the exhaust duct system definition, we go to the rise drop tab. Here it's talking about the rise and drop style to be used by our exhaust system. I can assign a rise drop style to be used there. So there's this concept that one style can be dependent upon another. That's a good example, systems with rise drops. But there's another good example up here, property sets and schedule tables. So we have equipment schedule tables, and those schedule tables require property sets. So if I had a schedule table style in here, and I'll show you how to add styles and transfer them in a moment, but they use these property set definitions here to make those schedule table styles. So like duct objects, to calculate the bottom of the duct, or the length or the height, stuff like that. These are all the different properties that belong to the duct object property set definition. And these properties all use a format for their data. So for instance, the height, we're setting it to a format over here, and it's set to unit distance inches to the tenths. That's another style. So I can create a property data format that understands units, whether it's inches or feet, square feet for area. If it's like people quantity, you can't have a fraction of a person. It's more like an integer. So anyway, you can create these property data formats, which the properties use, which the schedule table styles use. So yeah, that's a real strong example of where styles build upon each other and are necessary. So you need to keep this in mind that to have schedule table styles, you need property set definitions, and to have property set definitions, you need data formats. And they need to exist in the same file. Alright, so we're building on concepts here so that basically when you take your styles that you've created in a project and you want to save these out to a standards file, put them in a separate file where they stand alone, and then you can copy them into any project from that point onwards. Well, you also need to know if I'm going to grab my schedule table styles and bring them into another file, I'm going to get the property sets with it. I'm going to get the property data formats along with it. Okay. Let's look at some style drawings. So if I come up here and say open, there's this button that everyone is going to have here called content. You click on that content button, it takes you to this ENU, it stands for English Units, and this folder contains all these other types of folders. MEP content is where MV parts are stored. MV parts and fittings, those aren't really styles, but it's still content, so it kind of, these folders all go together under the category of content. Styles are right there. And layers is a different kind of style folder. It contains the layer keys, which are styles. But that's about the only other kind of style that exists outside of the styles folder right here. So let's open up the styles folder. And here's the Imperial styles. So we've got dimension styles and bar joist styles, and a lot of those are architectural stuff. But then we've got equipment tags and equipment schedules for electrical. We've got mechanical equipment tags and schedules, display themes and leader symbols, and all sorts of good stuff in here. System definitions. We try to keep them all the same under here so that they can use the rise drop symbols and stuff. So the rise drop symbol styles are all in the system definitions folder. Okay, so if you ever wanted to transfer in new system definitions, you might choose the style drawing and say open. So Style Manager is going to open that file side by side with your current file. And so let's say that you created a new schematic object, a new schematic symbol, and so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a block. And I don't think I created a block earlier, but let's say that we created a block, and I'm just going to pick one. I'm just going to pick an existing block that comes out of the box. So now we have ourselves a new schematic symbol style, and I'm going to give that style a name, my schematic symbol. Okay, so I've created the schematic symbol inside my working project drawing, and I want this symbol to be available in the future. And all I really have to do, let's see if we have a style drawing for schematic symbols. So I had the system definition one there. It does not look like we have a schematic symbol style drawing out of the box. So let's make one. So I'm going to start a new file, and I'm going to put it in the content folder, and I'm going to put it in the styles one here. So you can create yourself a custom company. We'll say this is my company symbol style drawing. Okay. Yeah, you may simplify the name or whatever, but yeah. So I created this new drawing inside the style drawing folder, and to bring my symbol over, it's really just a matter of bringing it over like that, and now it's inside this new drawing that we just created. Let's look at like schematic system definitions. So I can drag and drop one at a time. I can't multiple select. I'm holding down on my shift key right now, and you'll notice that it's not multiple selecting. Well, when I got a whole bunch of styles that I want to copy over, how do I copy a bunch of them at a time? Select on the main heading. Notice that the same list appears on the right. On the right side, I can now use my shift key. I can use my control key and add and pick and choose what I want. Right click, copy, and then paste. So now it brought it over. So that's how you transfer system styles between files. It's really that simple, and you can create new style drawings that way. These new style drawings, I recommend that you try to have one style drawing that only has, for instance, schematic system definitions. You'd have a separate style drawing that only has schematic symbol styles. Okay? Then the exceptions are what I was talking about earlier, where if you have a style drawing that contains schedule table styles, you're also going to have to keep property set definitions in there and property data formats in there. For the system definitions, you'll also have to have the rise drop styles in there too. So don't have two separate ones for rise drop symbols and systems. Keep those all in one. That way you don't have two different content drawings where they can get out of sync. But that's really all you have to do. Thank you very much.